Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. On a day like this, where I'm sporting gloves and have a plastic tablecloth drop sheet splash zone kind of protection on my desk, I begin to feel like a mad scientist. Now, this is just a piece of gloss photo paper that I think I'm going to need in a bit. But let me tell you what I'm doing. A little while ago, I thrifted, no, it was through an auction. I bought a 1980s, and if you remember the 80s, wedding gown. It was one of those with the gigantic poufy sleeves. So at the top of the sleeve, like in the shoulder, well, probably, well, shoulder area, basically, in order to keep it as poufy as it was, they actually had crinoline material on the inside. So, you know, at some point I will be, of course, I got a lot of mileage out of that thing. And it was bejeweled and had a long train. Like, I mean, there was so much to salvage on there. It is unbelievable. Anyway, as I was cutting around some of the lace motifs, I was ending up with odd pieces like this. Now, where I could, I left a piece that, you know, I just sort of rolled up and made a spool out of that could be used for fabric ruffles. But I've got all this white, oh no, that's from something else. I've got all this bridal satin, that's what I'm calling it. So I'm sure you can't really see any difference here. But so the good side, the right side, of course, is, you know, got a wee bit of a shine to it. The back side less so. But because I have this huge gown, I figured I'd better figure out some options for colorizing this stuff. And it started out innocently enough. It's one of those ideas that sort of, you know, started at breakfast. I had some dregs of my Keurig coffee, and again, it's not strong by any stretch of the imagination. And I threw, okay, let's keep one white one here for contrast. So there was just a wee bit left in the cup, and rather than pour it down the drain, I threw two pieces in. And you can see that it picked up the color and, you know, has that, you know, that sort of vintagey look that many people like. Now, if, excuse me, if I mixed a batch of instant coffee and really, you know, added a teaspoon or so of coffee, it would probably have gotten darker. Although we do know that synthetic fibers take up color a lot more reluctantly or a lot more unreliably than natural fibers like cotton. So then I was doing something with beets. I actually found a package of frozen beets, freezer burned, and I thought, well, okay, I better do something with it. That's going to be the subject of another video. However, you know, we don't throw anything away. So I still hadn't discarded the beets, so I threw another piece into that beet water. And that's what I got. And then I thought, okay, what else? Like you, I have, and I just grabbed these at random, I have Distress Oxide sprays. This is wilted violet, speckled egg, and picked raspberry. So I thought, okay, we can try that. I do have, not very much, I should have refilled it. Just a spritz, water, a bottle, a spray. What is this? It's a spray bottle with some water in it. And this is just, maybe let me smell it. this must be a really old ink solution that I made up, and it's quite a green. And then I also, beside me and out of sight, I have a whole bunch of this Adirondack alcohol ink, and that's why I have this handy in case that is necessary. But I just thought that since, like, I have my purple journals adjacent, can you imagine if I ruined one with a crazy thing like this? Anyway, so let's just have a little play and see what's what. Don't know. No, it doesn't appear to have settled out. So let's just spritz this and see, whoops, what happens. And I'm 8 inches above the... Now you can see the way it's beading up there. That there is some perhaps resistance. And do I have, which side do I have up? I really can't feel anything with these gloves on. I think, well, let's just see. Looks like, doesn't matter which side I spray, the results are, excuse me, virtually the same. Oh, and I also have, this is a dried up baby wipe. Let's just maybe try to keep my surface somewhat clean in between experiments. Okay, we'll put this aside and see what happens. I also do have my heat gun plugged in if we want to speed things up at the end. Okay, I don't know what that does, but I mean, I don't really like that green. But if a person was doing a very springy project and wanted that sort of fresh green look, and if you like the, oh, see, I didn't, oh, it's in the kitchen. Oh, I don't have a pipette here, but that would have been good to, I could probably get one. So we'll see what happens where the droplets are fairly big. And of course, none of this stuff is complete as you see it. It is going to be, maybe I should cut some of these pieces because I only have one gown. I don't have that much to play with. I'm just kind of, well, I guess I have quite a few pieces. Why am I being so cheap with this? Okay, let's just pick another one. Okay, now how are you supposed to shake this? Shake well side to side. Mist water, reactive formulation with water. Mist water, oh my goodness, I can't read. Mist water, reactive formulation with water to enhance oxidized and mottled effects. Clean spray nozzle after each use. Okay, so we're going side to side. You can probably hear the little shaker thingamajig in the bottom. I mean, in the bottle. It's helping agitate the paint. Maybe that's good enough. Again, this was called Wilted Violet. Again, about 8 inches above. Let's wipe the nozzle like a good girl. And let's see what happens if we spritz it with water. Oh, you know what would be good? Why am I, well, mind you, that cloth could be used too. I think at this point it's when you start to see the components that make up a color separate. Now let's see what happens if I just blot these two ends together, you know, part of this together. Well, that changes the look. I don't know if that's so beautiful though. Again, you can see that there's almost some resistance. But that doesn't mean that this won't eventually dry. Okay. The thought I had but didn't articulate was, instead of wiping this up, I could be using, it's not the greatest paper either. I have this, I have a magazine rack, next to me that I use to hold all my backing papers. Oh, see, this I like. Makes me wonder, why am I not playing more regularly or ever with my Distress Oxide? Now, I don't know what's going on here. If there was a smidge of green on my gloves, doesn't really look like it, but who knows. Now that is lovely. I will put that aside to dry, and we'll look at these things at the end. Now, I think I pretty well got it all. I should have a real wipe here. I've had this forever. This is no reflection on the brand. It's probably fine. But I had it so long that it started drying up in the package. And all I did was spritz some water in there, thinking, well, whatever stuff lubricates these things in the first place, it would still be in the fibers. Maybe I can just bring it back to life. Okay, let's try another one of these. Let's try speckled egg. Now, of course, that's the wrong side. Let's try the wrong side this time. I, of course, am using the fabric dry. Now, whether or not the results would be different, I suppose I could. Oh, why don't I wet one? Yeah, see how it beads on there? I guess that's if the bride spills red wine on herself during supper. Although this gown did not have a dry cleaner's label on it, so let's maybe do that one first. Did not have it. Whoa, I'm hitting everywhere but the thing. This is the dry one. So let's move this little guy out of the way so he doesn't get... Now I'm adding water to this after the fact. You know what I like about this? But of course, that will probably change as it dries. But it almost reminds me of an animal skin. Like, not exact. It's not, the droplets are too small to be like alligator. And, well, they're too small to be like ostrich. But they just look cool. And I'm afraid that if I put a heat gun to them, it would probably break up those little globules of color. You know, it would blow them. They would no longer be the way they landed there. Let's try another. This is some old paper from a scrapbook, and you know how like from the 30s, or maybe this is the older one I took apart. You know how fragile this paper could be. It wasn't very good quality when it was new, and then add 100 years and just trying to move that out of there so I could get in a little closer. That looks pretty cool on there. Now, has this dried or why is it not? Oh, see, it was better before I sort of smeared it like that. But we're not rejecting anything. We're just piling up our experiments here. Okay. Well, we have fabric, we have time. Let's try the picked raspberry. Yeah, picked raspberry. Oh, I was saying about the dress. I think I've determined that there is no difference on which side, right side or wrong side of the fabric. Anyway, about the dress. In the listing for it, they obviously drew attention to this stain, and it was sort of right off to the side. It was about at the bride's waist, but off to the side. I'm thinking, well, it wasn't the color, or was it? The color of dried blood. And I'm thinking, ooh. But so it clearly wasn't cleaned after the big day, but it was held on to for close to 40 years. So I'd say the stain is set. See, this was a much, oh, you know what? I don't know if I wiped this nozzle. No, I didn't. This seemed, whoa, pinched my glove in there. This is a lot finer. Oh, well, let's see what happens when I add water. Again, you know, I've got a whole gown to play with here. What happens if I... This is the equivalent of taking it down to the river and beating it on a rock. That's kind of cool. Maybe let's soak this up. Oops, I'm about to lose the cover. So that is kind of, and look at the way it frays. That's beautiful. I'm liking this. See, if we would have done stuff like this in science, it would have been better. Okay, I have a few pieces left, so maybe we should try some of the alcohol ink, and then we'll look back at our results. So I think I'm just going to roughly cut this into thirds. Now, I suppose that a person could, well, no, that would probably defeat the purpose of the Distress Oxide. I was going to say a person could make up a bit of a dye bath and, you know, kind of soak a whole piece. Oh, and the other thing I haven't done since forever, and I do mean decades, is dye fabric. Like I have powdered, some thrifted powdered packages of RIT dye. Not powdered packages, packages of powdered RIT dye. Okay, it'll be interesting to, I have more of these things here. Maybe I should use this underneath. We'll do one at a time. I just didn't know if once I get some alcohol ink on here, if it would, you know, somehow pick up the color underneath. So what does this say now? Permanent, fast-drying, transparent, acid-free dye inks formulated in the blah, 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 blah. Geez, could that font be any smaller? Okay. Colorful polished effects on glossy surfaces. Glass, dominoes, metal, foil, shrink plastic, acetate, gloss cardstock, and more. Lighten, blend, and remove colors with an alcohol blending solution. Intermix with other colors. But does it, I guess it doesn't, oh, here's something. Be cautious. Okay. Now I do have a dabber here, but well, we'll see, I guess, what happens. And I do have this tiny mini mister, so I don't know if that means smaller droplets or, and I do have a bit of water in there, so we'll see. Okay, I'm going to, this is called Salmon. Don't know if I guess I didn't need to. I don't think I needed to oh, see, that's just transferring the whatever was on this dauber. Maybe if I put it straight on here. That's probably not going to work very well because it is a porous, oh, it's a porous surface. I do have clean ones of these. Maybe I should just bite the bullet and get a clean one. Put that aside. How's that? It's going to be fine. Fine, fine. Everything is fine. Okay. Whoops. Oh. Well, that didn't hold very well, did it? Staples have, or whatever that, yeah, that's a staple of some kind. It's probably going to fall off the minute I try to use it. Ay, ay, ay. I do have a stapler, but I don't think it's, you need that other kind to, you know, fire into wood. I've got oodles of those things around here, but not, oh my goodness. Nada. Huh, and the smell. Let's try, whoa, let's try a better color. This one is called eggplant. Oh my goodness, that smell. Ugh. I was going to say, let's try one that opens. Yay. Again, that, I guess with this, it's more a solid effect. I do have blending solution, but because this is, it's got a little bit of a sheen to it. Did that come from the, let's cover this up before there's an incident. Oh, wrong thing, geez. No, it said it could be intermixed. Mind you, that's such a dark color. What have I got that I could try on top? Oh, how about silver? Look at this. Goodness probably too much. And when they say fast drying, do they mean fast? Ooh. I guess because it's sitting on top, there's a certain opacity to it. So let's not cover up all the eggplant. Mind you, okay, that went right through. So if I like this side better, I could use that. Okay, let's see. Do we have... Oh. Oh, goodness. Stinky. I have such a poor head for bad smells. Cover this up. Okay, I think that's going to draw our... Good thing I did it last and not first. Well, let's just, for the heck of it, see what happens if I spray it. It's probably way too late in the process for that. Oh, it kind of lifts it a bit. You could almost make your own marbleized paper with this. Anyway, enough of that. This isn't about alcohol ink. Okay, let me show you what has transpired here. Okay, we started out with, I'd better keep my gloves on, weak coffee. Let's just put it that way. This was beet water. This was an ink mixture. So I sprayed this and then this. That was our first one, first with the sprays. Then I did, what did I do next? Violet, wilted violet. Yeah, see, so this is another one of those things where it tests our patience because, and look at this, it's probably too late for this. But see how there's some purple and... So this was the speckled egg. That was also speckled egg, but on a wet, a dampened piece. And this is picking up some pink at the back. This was picked raspberry that I, pretended I was doing laundry. This was, what was this? This was the first bit of alcohol ink. Yeah, stinky. This is what I picked up on this, pretty absorbent paper. This was the Distress Oxide just on, ordinary book page that has a bit of a sheen to it. This makes me want to play around with this stuff some more. So I guess, we didn't have a double-blind study. We don't have research subjects or whatever. We don't have all the parameters in place. But I think this proves to me that, oh, damn it. That touched that. This proves to me that there are lots of possibilities for bridal satin. And maybe one last thing before I let you go. Maybe I care the least about the green ones. So let's just see what happens if I bring my heat gun out. Now, how am I going to protect? I don't want to melt my plastic here. Let's just put this sheet down. And I'll try to keep it fairly above, so here goes. That is not totally dry, as you can see, but I don't want to take much more of your time doing that. Isn't that kind of interesting? This is a very graphic coloring book page, so just, it's kind of cool the way. Okay, I guess that, oh, maybe it just finished evaporating because the fabric is hot. So I guess another variable in this little experiment is how the size of your droplets. So obviously the bigger the droplets of water, the bigger the patches of color. So a person could play around a bit with that as well. But I am I think I'm pretty happy knowing that, oh, this one is still wet. I better not rub it up against everything else. I'm pretty happy knowing that I could spot dye this fabric. I think that, is there enough difference between the Adirondack alcohol ink and these much more convenient Oxide and less stinky Oxide sprays to warrant using alcohol ink? Probably no real value to using the alcohol ink unless, not on fabric, unless maybe you couldn't get your desired color any other way. But do you see how that, well, or maybe it's my imagination, but it kind of reminds me of some kind of an animal skin. I am thrilled. So I hope that if you have if you ever decide to cut up your wedding gown, that you make use of every single scrap of it, and that you try some of these techniques for colorizing them. And of course, this was just, as you saw, an on-the-fly experiment. So I got way more fabric to play with. Now, in an upcoming video, I will be doing it with some of the decorative elements from the gown. So we will see how, the parts with lace and sequins and tulle and things like that take. I also have miles and miles of crinoline and tulle, because of course it was that kind of a time in the history of wedding gowns. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you are inclined to play Mad Scientist one of these days. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.